Good morning, everyone. It is April the 16th, 2025. And as you can see by my title, Changing the Rules, it's going to be a little different video. But I've already mentioned this that BC, British Columbia, is changing the rules and having things for those who have addictions mandatory. Well, it looks like Alberta is going that way in the next video that I'm going to put up for you to watch. It's quite the video. It's got a lot of new rules, regulations, and certainly forcing people into treatment. And it's just how it's done. They have to have medical professional people actually do this in a way that is regulated for sure. But under the provincial rules and regulations, I believe that's what they're going to do it under, although it's very controversial, that's for sure, because they don't know if it's constitutional or not, or if they're infringing on the rights of even a person who's so high they have no idea what they're doing. And as the Premier was saying, it's getting to the point where it's not only the person who is addicted or so high that are unaware of what they're doing. It's becoming to the point where people who are being harmed, whether it's accidentally or whether it's to the point where, if a person's going to be harmed, either a person who's addicted or an innocent person is going to be harmed, which is what's happening constantly on the streets today. And as she put it, nobody wants to see people dying on the streets. So it's turning into very drastic measures by the sound of it. I'm trying to absorb it. It just came out yesterday, so I'm thinking about it. As it's going to be good, or as they say, is it going to force more people hiding their addictions and hiding away from professionals? And by forcing people to go for drug addiction, is it going to really work? And as the Premier said, well, you don't know until you try it. So this is another experimental thing. But when it comes to harm, I have a little story, another one, something that happened to me a couple of weeks ago. And it really does touch on the subject, whether this person who's addicted is really doing something to harm another person accidentally or on purpose. Well, this was more of an accidental thing that happened to me. But it just goes to show that having people who are high and unaware of what they're doing in the streets or and that can affect people. So my little story is a couple of Saturdays ago. I was going into the mall. Now, some of you are aware, some of you are not aware that I have some mobility issues. So I'm either walking with my service dog at my side to help me walk, or I walk with my cane. This Saturday I was walking with my cane. The shopping mall was extremely crowded. There was a lot of people going through those big doors when you go through the entrance to the mall. And there was a number of people going ahead of me. So they were just opening the door for me, and because they saw me with the cane, and I just followed them through. And everything was going smoothly. It was like everyone was walking, no problem. And all of a sudden I came up really fast behind someone, and I realized they were standing there, and I didn't know what they were doing. I thought, is he opening the door for me or what? And then in a split second I thought I was coming up fast, so I tried to veer off from him so I wouldn't run into him. And because I saw the other gentleman holding the door, the other side of the door open, beside the door that he was holding. So when I went to veer off, he stuck his leg out and he tripped me. And of course my cane went clattering to the floor, and then I just totally crash landed into the floor at the mall. And of course that was quite a ruckus, and everybody just turned and they saw what happened to me. I had a number of people rush over to me to see if I was all right and to help me get back on my feet. And then as I was trying to get up off the floor with the help from some other people, I looked up at this guy, and he was an Inuit man, and definitely one of the ones that really does need some help. Totally stoned. He was just looking at me into outer space like he didn't even know what the heck was going on. He was still hanging on to the door, and it was wide open. And he's just looking into space. He's looking at me. He's looking at the crowd. He has no idea what's going on around him. He is so high. So I got back on my feet. A number of people asked me if I was all right. Fortunately, when I ended up on the ground, I just sprained my finger a little bit, and I had a sore hip from landing. But what ended up happening was I'm very grateful that I wasn't seriously injured, because being a senior, that's one of the worst things you can have is fall and be worried about broken bones. So I came out of that all right. And then, of course, when I went into the mall, after I got back up on my feet again, I saw him. By this time, he got into the mall area, and he was walking on the mall, and he was just like is all over, just looking, and he was just a total space cadet was the only way to describe him. He had no idea where he was. Now, of course, my idea of being a space cadet is not being spaced out on drugs, that's for sure. I'd rather be sent up to space in a rocket and be looking out the window back down at Earth, and this awe-inspiring scene in front of me, seeing what Mother Earth would look like from outer space. Now, that would be a beautiful scene, and I wouldn't be definitely spaced out on drugs. I'd be seeing something very beautiful, and I'd be very aware of what I was seeing. So that was one of the things that I just wanted to say that I talked about before, how some of these guys are people who are on drugs are just walking out off the sidewalk. They're so stoned right in front of cars. So they're not only a danger to themselves, as I said, they're a danger to other people. Now, this was just a simple accident where just as I moved, he stuck his leg out, and I tripped over him, his leg, and ended up on the floor. And that should not have happened. Luckily, as I said, I had people around me that they were able to assist me at the time. So, and I was lucky I wasn't seriously hurt in it. But it could have been worse. It could have been somebody else who was a bit partially handicapped. Well, I'm not fully handicapped, but I do have mobility issues with my arthritis and that, so that I've talked about in previous videos. But I think people need to understand that I think what's happening now is what I'm seeing is it started in British Columbia. It now seems to be going to Alberta. I think this may even be taken up with the other provinces one at a time. It's not going to be something that's federally regulated across the board. It's each province to their own rules and regulations. And I can see that coming right now, because it is really bad out there. And people, we don't want to see people harming themselves. It's a horrible thing. And as I said, I see people who are one day, they're healthy, they look reasonably healthy, and then they start taking drugs, and the next time I look at them, they look like nothing but a stick. So I think it's not bad in some ways. I think there's going to be constitutional challenges by the lawyers and by those who think this is terrible, and putting them mandatory in for certain lengths of time, and how they're going to do it, which my video is going to explain it better than I can explain it. So everyone, watch the video carefully. I think there's more changes coming. I think the changes have to come. I think we have to find a route out of this, because we cannot have people dying on our streets. And the unfortunate thing is about this is that there's, as my grandfather used to say, there's two sides to the coin. Unfortunately, what we're doing, in a way, it looks like those who are addicted are the ones that are being punished because they have an addiction, where the ones that also should be really punished on the second side of the coin should be all the dealers and those who are making these poor people addicted. So we're in very interesting times right now. So as I see things, I'll try and keep people informed the best I can. And so I'm going to leave it there, everyone. Take care. Be safe, watch your surroundings, which I was that day, watching my surroundings, but I still got hurt. So it can still happen very easily. So take care, everyone, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.